You're not good enough at everything when it comes to entrepreneurship for people with disabilities. If your time and energy are limited because of disability, because of chronic illness, and you resist delegation, your business will fail. It won't take off. It is the only way. The delegation piece is the most necessary piece for all of them. It is also the piece that causes the most resistance.
How can you help us, though, continue to help you? First, please subscribe to the channel. Like us. If you listen to the audio version, leave us a 5-star review wherever you can. If you see our posts, please share those posts, share the content, and link back to our law firm website, which helps us to continue our SEO marketing and grow our firm and help small business owners. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm Mitch Beinhaker, your host. If you are listening on your favorite directory and you can leave us a review, leave us a 5-star review. If you are watching us on YouTube, as we're trying to build a YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, like us, share the channel, and we'll keep growing from there. As I always say, I was telling Maria, I'm a paranoid attorney. So if you are listening to us or you're watching us and you hear some things, advice, whatever, remember that this is for entertainment purposes only. And if you're ever making decisions, always talk to local, qualified, licensed professionals. Maria, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mitch.
You know, now I forgot to ask you before we were off the microphone, where are you located?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh, so we're East Coast people.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So why don't you tell us about your situation? Some of our conversations today are going to be about disabilities in business and things like that. And then we'll get into what you're doing on the nonprofit side. So let's do your background first and your business and so forth.
Sure. My background, actually, I am a teacher by training.
Okay.
So I have way too many degrees in education. And I spent 15 years working in public schools as a teacher, as a curriculum developer, and on the administrative side in a language arts capacity.
Okay.
So that was 15 years, right? And 3 master's degrees. And that was the plan.
Right.
You're going to ride that right out to retirement. Right. And then at 35, I started developing some really wonky neuromuscular symptoms. I'd go for a run and feel like I had an electrical storm in my leg, and I was a weightlifter, and the amount of weight I was able to lift just started decreasing.
Really?
And so I assumed I'm overtraining, or, you know, what they always tell you, up your protein, right? Got to be the protein.
Yeah.
So, and then when I realized that this wasn't getting better, it was getting worse, and we're just on this slow decline, I started going to the doctor because that's the next right move, right?
Yeah.
And
it's the right doctor, right? They got to figure out what's wrong with you.
Sure. And so I was told it was stress. I needed to decrease stress. At this point, I was working in an urban school district and parenting 5 children. So reducing stress.
Yeah, that's stress. Okay, that counts. So
you're
that makes sense.
So that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So
stress does a lot of wonky things too.
It does.
And
if you're battling some kind of something, stress will make it worse.
Much worse, right?
So, but that kind of amounts to the same advice other people give, like try yoga. Have you tried yoga?
Right, exactly. I think that would relieve a lot of things, but it doesn't really deal with what the underlying cause is.
Yeah.
You know, it's generally not just stress.
Right. So then in 2019, so this was a little over a year later, after the symptoms started, I ended up paralyzed in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah, I got up out of bed. My legs didn't work. And by the time my husband got home to take me to the hospital, my arms weren't working. And by the time we got to the hospital, my jaw got in on the fun. So I couldn't talk. And so I'm in the hospital. I can't talk. I can't move. I'm crumpled into a wheelchair. They assume it's a stroke. So they do all of that stuff. Right.
Like Bell's palsy or something. But it could have been a virus or something causing all this kind of stuff, right?
It could have been. And actually, we think probably a Lyme infection precipitated the paralysis, right?
Sure.
But it took another year and a half to get diagnosed. I have CIDP, which is chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, and and myasthenia gravis. So if you want to say that 10 times fast, record yourself and send it to me. I'll send you a present.
Right, exactly.
And
some simple name, right?
Right. Yeah. So, but once I got diagnosed and got medicated with the appropriate treatment, things started to slowly come back. Right. And so, at that point, my eye muscles weren't working properly. when I was paralyzed. So that was one of the first things that came back. So I was able to drive again, which was really great.
So was it all like kind of a communication between your brain and your body, unable to tell your body what to do?
So two different things, right? So CIDP attacks the myelin sheath on your peripheral nerves, so arms and legs. And then myasthenia gravis, it basically means your muscles don't receive the chemicals from the nerves in the same way that most people do. And so, so those two, so it was, it presented as rapid muscle fatigue most of the time. And that's complicated for someone who's a weightlifter, right? Because I have a lot of muscle.
Yeah, seriously. Were you just weightlifting like to work out, or you were a power lifter? Like
a little bit of both.
Okay.
Right? It depended on the day. And so
you weren't competing.
No, but I was incredibly strong. And so I'd go to the neurologist
Right.
and they'd run you through all the tests.
Right.
And they'd say, well, you're really strong. You're doing fine. And I'm like, yeah, but if you have me do that same thing 10 times, on the 10th time, I'm going to completely fail. And then it's going to take hours for my muscles to recover.
Which doesn't make any sense. Right.
Which doesn't make any sense. And there's no amount of creatine that's going to help that.
Right. Protein's not going to
going to do
magically bring you back.
Right. So
you probably already took that stuff, right? If you're a lifter, you're taking extra protein.
I'm doing all the things.
Yeah, I do it too. Right.
So at that point, I couldn't go back to teaching right away.
Right.
So I was on FMLA leave, and eventually the Teachers Retirement Board classified me as medically retired.
So disabled, basically.
Yeah, basically you're disabled. You can no longer teach.
Right.
And there you go.
Right.
So when that happened, I was encouraged to apply for Social Security.
Right.
Now, teachers in Connecticut don't pay into Social Security, but because of the insurance benefits, we said
SSDI and things like that. Yeah.
So let's try it. So I did that. And then what came back was, we think you are too disabled to work in the field you're trained in, but we think you can work in some capacity.
Right. Well, that's what happens. The disability company, and not companies, but basically the government says, well, I mean, you can still, hand fries out at McDonald's. So why should we?
Or something, right? Yeah, you could go find something to do.
Right.
And so I lost
when you were teaching, though, you had a contract, right? I mean, you were tenured at that point. So they can't fire you. But because you're disabled, then you go on disability, and then that kicks in?
No. So actually, there's no disability through teaching. Like, there was no...
The state in Connecticut?
Nope.
Okay.
No, didn't factor in. And so what happened is I was on FMLA leave. That was unpaid.
Right.
And then when the Teachers Retirement Board classified me as disabled, the school district terminated me on the basis of disability.
They can do that.
They can do that because
but then you still get your pension, right? I mean, you don't lose that. Do you?
I don't lose my pension. So right. So the school district can claim undue hardship. And so at that point, what I needed, and this was when school was virtual, by the way, this was 2020, 2021.
Right.
So what I needed was 1 day a week off for medical infusions. I was getting IVIG infusions that were 8 hours long once a week at that point. And then I needed breaks during the day to ensure that I didn't end up with the muscle fatigue. And I needed an accessible building in case I needed to switch to a walker or a wheelchair. And my doctors also recommended a hybrid work environment where I wasn't in office every day.
Right, of course.
Right. But at this point, I was doing curriculum development work and working as an ELA coach and instructional.
Okay. So you're writing curriculums.
Writing curriculum, coaching teachers, watching lessons, sort of giving a lot of feedback, helping new teachers, helping older teachers.
District.
Per the district, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what I was doing is stuff that during COVID, everybody figured out, we can do this piece.
Remotely. Right, exactly. Yeah.
But I was still terminated on the basis of disability.
Okay. So,
yeah,
I'll answer my questions after you finish.
And so while I was hospitalized, and then in the ensuing 6 months to a year, when I was trying to figure out a diagnosis, my brain was still functional.
Right.
Still is. Still is, as it turns out. And so I started doing some freelance writing. I've always loved writing.
Okay. You've always
And
been a good writer?
writing is easy for me. Right. I
Yeah.
think
My daughter's like that. She was a journalist major. She writes unbelievably, and I can't even, I mean, I write contracts and stuff like that, but it's stories, forget about it.
right. So I
Yeah.
think when it comes to business, if we find something that we're really good at, that we find easy, that other people absolutely hate doing, it's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
Right.
So I started doing freelance writing, and I ended up with a couple of decent sized clients. A lot of stuff in the mental health space, social justice spaces. And then I had a client ask me eventually to write a book for them. So I was sort of doing this as I was
Like a
going through.
nonfiction, books like
Yeah.
we'll write about
Yeah.
ourselves and whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I was doing this sort of while I was going through that whole diagnosis, trying to
Right.
figure out what's going on with me phase. So some
Yeah.
weeks I had 5 hours a week I could work, and some weeks I
Right.
might maybe had 10, 15, but nothing that looked anywhere close to what we consider a full-time.
And you still had your 5 kids. You didn't give those away. So,
No, I mean, so our kids, we have a big age spread. So 3 are adults at this point.
so some are taking care of the others, I guess.
Yeah. So, well, at that point I had a high school junior,
Okay.
and I had a 5th grader, and I had a 3-year-old.
Oh, yeah. So you got a house full. I got 3 kids. That was a lot when I had those ages. But I always tell people, if you can have 4 kids, you might as well have 6 or 7, because eventually
If you're
the 2 or
outnumbered.
3 oldest are going to start taking care of the youngest, and you're off the hook.
Yeah. Well, and also if you're outnumbered anyway.
Yeah, doesn't matter. He played defense,
Yeah.
zone defense anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was doing the freelance writing and making some money there, not anything crazy.
Right.
But enough to feel like I was contributing in some way.
Right. And your husband's still working too, right?
Yeah, so what actually started helping me to see that this might be a viable option is that he, as an accountant, sees all of the benefits of self-employment.
Right.
Right.
A lot of benefits, a lot of tax benefits.
Yes. And so when we started putting that together, and I started seeing for myself that, oh, if I'm doing this for my household, it's lowering our cost of living because of this and this and this and this, right?
Yeah, of course.
And the 17% of our house, that's my office space.
Right.
Right. All of those.
Exactly.
So, so when I eventually was medically retired from teaching, I still had this sense of like, well, I'm not good at anything else. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, well, that's
even though I have this,
everyone faces, right?
Right, but I have this writing thing I'm already doing.
Yeah, and you have a skill, but you felt like you didn't feel like you went to school for journalism, so
right.
Well, creative writing.
I mean, my first year in college, I double majored in journalism and social work.
Oh, okay,
and now I write for mental health professionals. So that
came together.
Kind of funny to me.
Yeah.
I just like the synergy of that. So that was sort of how I ended up starting my own business, was out of necessity. I did try to find other W-2 jobs. But as soon as I would get to a point where I had an offer, I'd disclose disability, ask for accommodations, and they'd rescind the offer. It happened at least 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
They're not really supposed to do that, by the way. But what are you going to do, right? I mean, we're going to do sue them and then get a job and go to work there? You don't want to do that.
No, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah, that's the problem with the law. But let me ask you a question then before we get on to business. I know this is a business podcast and we're not health professionals, but did they ever figure out like why this happened to you? It wasn't like something you're born with and you're struggling and then it took you, now you're 25 and you figured it out. This started, it was like acute onset as an adult.
Yeah.
So did they ever figure that out?
I mean, so they're both autoimmune conditions.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Right. And so something triggered my immune system. There's no way to really know what kicked it off, but the working theory is that, so I was a teacher. We don't take time off when we're teachers.
Yeah.
Right. We work when we're sick.
Summertime, whatever.
Yeah. So I was teaching, I was doing the kids and all of that. So of course I'm tired.
Right.
Right. So when I finally convinced someone to test me for Lyme disease, it came back positive. And I'd never seen a bite. I'd never had a rash.
Right.
But that test came back positive. It also looks like I had mono at the same time. So I had mono and Lyme. And then I got a flu shot. And, my father's an immunologist.
No, but there's some sort of live viruses in there, right? To make your body
Well,
build up immunity.
You're
but
not
if you got all these things going on.
right, but you're not supposed to get a flu shot if you're sick.
Right. But you didn't know you were sick.
But I didn't know I was sick. I thought I was just, tired, worn out.
Right.
And so because a lot of those things replicate on nerve cells, my immune system started attacking nerve cells.
So it was kind of like a perfect storm type of a unknown situation. Well, you didn't know these things were going on behind the scenes. That's the biggest problem, right?
And one of the things that happened is a lot of times with autoimmune conditions, there's this sense of, well, a lot of people think that it's lifestyle choices that cause it.
Yeah.
And so I've had people say, well, what were you doing, do you think, that made this happen to you? Right? Because they don't want to think it could happen to them. It's like, well, I was running on a trail in the woods and got bit by a tick.
Right. Yeah, of course. But you also, were stressed and had a high stress job. And, I don't know if it was satisfactory to you or not, but you're dealing with a lot of issues, and you got kids and family and all that stuff. And you're dealing with other health issues you don't realize. So
right. Well, and as far as whether I was fulfilled or happy teaching, what I'll say is that if you're in a career that will kick you out when you get sick, instead of working with you, it's maybe not the best kind of working environment anyway.
Well, but that's in hindsight, though.
Right.
You didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming.
You said you were also in an urban environment, and teaching in urban environments are very difficult. What grades were you teaching?
When I was teaching in the classroom, I would taught 5th grade, but I was working K to 5.
Yeah. So, those are tough ages, and that's a tough setting to be in. So it adds to the stress. I have friends who, went from suburban to urban, and I was like, well, how do you deal with this? And they're like, what, are you kidding me? We can't. Some days, like, it's total chaos.
Yeah. Some days it is.
And you try to teach and it's frustrating. So probably all the combinations of those things kind of broke your system down. It's hard to be that in tune with your physical health when you got things going on that you can't see, feel, or don't know until it just comes out. You know?
Right. And so much of our work life disconnects us from our physical body. So,
oh my God,
you don't.
Yeah. I think stress does that, because sometimes you just shut down. You're just like, you know what? I just got to get off the mountain today, and you don't know what it's really doing to you because it's so gradual and long term.
Yeah. No, that resonates, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So let's get back into you and what you're doing. So you kind of accidentally sort of found a way to get yourself back into a productive, onto a productive business path, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Do you remember the first job you got, a client you picked up?
So yes, I do actually. So the first place I wrote was actually on Baby Gaga, which is a website for
blog.
Yeah. So I was blogging for them.
Okay.
And so that was parenting stuff, right?
Okay, makes sense.
But I'm gonna oust them a little bit. So the company that owns Baby Gaga is called Valnet. And Valnet, and they're a content mill, and they would pay me $20 for a 1,000-word article.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
It's nothing.
How long's a 1,000-word article? Is a page, 2 pages?
A page is about 750 words.
Okay, so it's like a page and a half. So it's like a page and a half.
Yeah.
$20.
$20.
Okay.
And there had to be links and research, and so it wasn't.
Right. So it's not like you're getting $20 for more than an hour's worth of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a professional with 3 master's degrees, and right. So at the time, though, having never been paid money for words,
okay,
$20 for some words felt pretty good.
Yeah. You're like, well, it's like free money.
Right. And now where I'm sitting, I'm hiring freelance writers to do blog writing. There's no way I'd pay them $20.
Right. You just think that's terrible.
I would not be, I wouldn't be able to eat lunch or sleep that night if I did that to a human.
Yeah.
Right. So I laugh at that, but it's also that's a stepping stone. So if you're in a situation where you're trying to make a pivot of some sort like that, sometimes taking the really low paid option for a moment, it does something psychologically to you to be paid for something you didn't think you could be paid for.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to start somewhere, and you got to build a resume, and you got to get your feet wet, and
all those things. Yeah. So I was blogging on Medium as myself. And then I was working for Valnet. I started working for Growth Machine, which was another content marketing company.
Okay.
They were fantastic. They paid 150 to 200 per article.
Yeah, that sounds more in line with.
Right. So that was like,
Right.
oh, okay, this is like a real thing.
Right.
Right. And then at that point, I started just telling people what I was doing professionally. My
Okay.
network, people I knew out in the
You
world.
owned it now.
I owned it. Like, I'm a professional
Right.
writer. This is
Yeah,
what
if
I'm
you're going
doing.
to go full board, don't tell them, well, I've been dabbling with it. You tell them.
Right. Well, and
Don't
part of
say
it is that sense of getting paid suddenly for doing a
Yeah.
thing. Right.
Right. You feel like it's a real job.
Right.
It's a real business.
I'm a real
Yeah.
professional because someone gave me a check.
Yeah.
So then,
And hopefully over time your check gets bigger.
Right.
Like it did. It went from 20 to 200. So now you get more comfortable with taking bigger checks.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
asking for bigger checks.
Yeah,
Right?
that is definitely something that entrepreneurs, professionals, consultants, whatever, have to become comfortable with. You know, what I charge now, 33 years in as a lawyer, is definitely higher than it was when I got started. But I have colleagues that are still charging like half my hourly rate. And I'm not the most expensive guy in the street. And I'm like, well, you've been working for 25 or 30 years. Like, what are you doing? Well, you know, I'm not comfortable with that and whatever. Yeah, but you're just shortchanging your family. I mean, people should pay for your expertise, and it's hard. It's something you definitely have to become like comfortable with. I had a guy call me. I'd like worked on wills for him or whatever, like 15 years ago, right? He disappeared, never did them, never paid me. We never, right? So he comes back, hey, can we do this and this? Yeah. And I said, all right, here's a retainer, whatever, this is the fee. He goes, oh my God, it was this. That I go, yeah, but that was 15 years ago.
Right.
Like, you think my cost of living hasn't gone up? So I don't think you ever
not
hired
only
me.
cost of living, but the cost of your brain.
Yeah, that counts.
Oh, for sure.
Experience and, experience and intelligence counts. That comes over time.
Yes. So in just starting to talk about myself as a professional writer, I had someone say to me, hey, it was a therapist. I'm starting a private practice. I need someone to do blogs for the website. Can you help me with that?
Yep.
Yes. And so that was my first time taking on a private client as opposed to working for a content
doing like
creation
subcontracted work,
Right.
basically. Yeah, I got it.
And that was a really great experience. And then eventually that same person asked me to write their book.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Memoir type of book? Or advice type of book?
Prescriptive memoir is what we call it. So it's a memoir, but I'm teaching you some things along the way.
Oh, got it. Okay. I like that term.
Yeah. And so when that happened, I said yes. And also I'm now running into the wall of stuff I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. So when we are learning to do something, whether it's business or anything else, there's this like sense of, well, some things are figure it outable.
Yes, some things are.
And then you get to this like wall or cliff, however you want to describe it, and now I need some help.
Right.
I need a ladder, a ramp, a slide, or a person with a parachute.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I think that is the one thing that if you want to be a successful person, I don't care if you're a solopreneur, consultant, professional writer, professional attorney, whatever, if you want to build let's not even call it a career, but a lifestyle, right? The way you want to do it and be productive and make money along the way, you have to figure out who, not how. Like, I just had Betsy on my podcast last week, and she's very successful in real estate, has multiple companies.
Yeah.
She's a big strategic coach person. And
okay. Yep.
She totally subscribes to that. Like, she'll learn it herself because she wants to understand how whatever it is they're building is working.
Yes.
But then she says, who do I need to get to do this with me so I'm not jack of all trades? Like, that's not a healthy way to live, especially in your case. It's definitely not a healthy way to live.
Not a healthy way to live. So actually, when I started doing freelance writing, I learned all of the SEO tech stuff myself.
Yeah, because you want to understand how it works, what it can do,
exactly.
Why it, right? I do too, but I don't do my own website.
No, now I have a Steve.
How it works.
I have a Steve.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go. He's a who.
Yes. So I got to this cliff of, can you ghostwrite my book? Right. And I said yes, because if I want to be a professional writer, that is the sort of thing I should say yes to.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But now I have to become the person who knows how to do that.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, there's a whole process to writing books for people, right? It's
Yes.
not like you sit down and make it up yourself.
So I sort of looked around on the great wide internet and said, who is doing this?
Yeah. And how are they doing it, right?
Right. And I found Nick Pavlidis.
Nick Pavlidis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he owns...
Shout out to Nick, I guess.
Yeah, shout out. Oh, I shout him out all the time. So Nick owns Authority Ghostwriting. He writes primarily business books.
Yeah.
But he was an attorney, a New York City attorney, and quit attorneying in order to be a ghostwriter.
Smart guy. He got out.
He did. He got out.
Recovering a lawyer.
Yeah. And now he has his hands in multiple businesses at this point. He sort of picks up new jobs all the time.
Okay.
Like he's the CEO of Podfest, and Morgan James Publishing.
I think I was at Podfest once.
Well, you should come in January. I'll be there.
Is it in Hoboken?
No, it's in Orlando.
Oh, maybe this was just a local type of
thing. They have local meetups.
Connect me with him. He sounds like he's what I call a portfolio entrepreneur.
Yes. So what he's doing is putting together a portfolio of all the things authors need.
Very good.
And he's buying all those businesses.
He services that community.
Right. So, but he also has a program called Ghostwriter School.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Where he'll train you on how to be a ghostwriter. Now, he'll give you all the tools.
Right.
But then you have to actually show up and use them.
Yeah, of course.
Right. And so
can he make you into a good writer? Like you have that skill or you don't. Right. So,
yeah. And so I started with his program and then I joined his mastermind. And so at this point, Nick's a friend, right? Yeah. But what it is it's okay. I have time, money, and energy. My energy is a little low because we've got the illness stuff going on, right? I've got the time crunch because of the illness and the parenting and all of this. So those two things are crunched. So I took some money,
right,
and I gave it to a person to save time because now I don't have to go learn all the things myself.
Yes, correct.
So it's that direct exchange of money to increase time and energy.
Right.
And the biggest thing I got out of my work with Nick is that if I hadn't hired him, I would have charged so little for that first book.
Well, that's a big problem, right? Is that you don't value your skills like someone else will and say, Maria, that is not what you should be charging. You don't say that to yourself. Everybody undervalues what they do. Right. You're just happy someone's paying you.
Right. And so having him sort of guide me through that and call that out was really helpful. And so, that first book project I charged $15,000 for because at that point I'd been working and writing professionally for years.
You had the skills, you had the resume.
Right.
Right. You don't want the last thing you want somebody to do is you underprice your thing and then you're stuck doing this project, miserable doing it, feel like you're being taken advantage of. Not exactly the way to start a business.
Well, and writing a book, that's 6 to 9 months of my life.
Yeah. Maybe you're getting your calendaring from one software and you're invoicing from another. Evenoo is a platform that we use as one of our sponsors to run our entire business. And there's other features like auto payments and integrations with QuickBooks. Visit evenoo.com, EVONUE.com to learn more. There's also a link in the show notes. And be sure to tell them that the Accidental Entrepreneur referred you. This podcast is brought to you by our affiliate sponsor, iEmployee. iEmployee is a virtual assistant service that hires almost anyone for any role in your company right out of the Philippines. Most roles range from $7 to $9 an hour for highly skilled and experienced VAs. And whether you need an executive assistant, social media manager, video editor, customer service, sales, you name it, they have it. We use iEmployee for our VA services, from editing and promoting the podcast to all the PR and promotion of our law firm. iEmployee acts as a virtual field supervisor on the back end with live video monitoring and reports on a daily basis with screenshots of your VA's workday, and along with complete HR and payroll duties. No more paying for overpriced and underqualified workers. There's a link in the show notes to get a 1-week free trial, and I encourage you to take advantage of it. Yes, you're probably not charging enough.
Well, not at $15,000, I wasn't.
No, and you got to have multiple projects for that to make sense.
Exactly.
You got to be a fractional ghostwriter. Yeah, exactly.
Right. And how many books can one person write in a year?
Yeah, I mean, your mind can only focus on. I'm sure once you get back to a project, you got to remember, okay, which one was this? Where was I? What I was right? Because you got a lot of things juggling in your head, just like I do with matters for clients and stuff.
Absolutely. So that's that's the trajectory. And then, I just keep doing the things Nick tells me to do.
Yeah. So,
and I've hired other business coaches here and there, but yeah, just find the people who are doing the thing.
Yeah. So this is a good point to make, because I think as entrepreneurs or as business owners, we have this thing like being an entrepreneur is about doing it all yourself. And you're not going to be successful, or nobody's going to respect you if you don't do it yourself, which is totally opposite of the people that are being successful as entrepreneurs or in business or whatever, because that is if you really step back, a ridiculous approach to a path on success, right?
I'd even say it's maybe a view that has, I don't want to diagnose anybody, but I'm going to use the word narcissism because that's the closest. It's got some narcissistic qualities to it. That idea of I have to do everything myself because I'm the only one who can possibly do
this. Right. Exactly. And that's the sign of success. And I'm not. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. And I think that they get that impression because you hear these stories about these entrepreneurs that are really successful, whatever. Right. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg was a smart guy in college and programmed Facebook. I mean, he didn't build the company himself, not even close.
Right. Well, okay, let's talk books for a second, right? If you go to any book, any successful book that is out there on the New York Times bestseller list, and I don't care if it's fiction or nonfiction, just pick one. I could pick a book up off the shelf right here. Look at the acknowledgments section.
Of course. Yeah.
Nobody did that on their own.
No, not at all. Take the biggest authors out there. I was just giving my son all kinds of James Patterson books from my dad's library.
Absolutely.
First, not only did he partner with a lot of people later on through series, but yeah, of course, he has a whole process of how he does and who he works with. And, people help him with this and that. It's ridiculous you can't get that much out of your own head. It's just too much. Yeah, it's too much.
Right. Well, it's too much. And also, you're not good enough at everything.
No, not even close. You're good at one. I mean, I know Keller Williams, Gary Keller, he talks about the one thing. So maybe it's not one thing, right? But it's certainly not more than a few things that you're good at and should be doing.
Exactly. Like Joe Polish has the Genius Network, right? The whole premise is find your genius. What's your genius? What are you really good at doing?
Right. There's a theme with these guys. That's exactly right. And I think that people, the sooner they embrace that, and they get involved with coaches or they go to programs in their industry or outside their industry and they find books. I'm always looking for good things to read and connect with people. Yes. The quicker, they'll push that success curve because they'll have people behind them pushing them up, and you're avoiding a lot of the big mistakes. You'll always make mistakes, right? Yeah. But doing it on your own, you make big mistakes. That's why we have such a high failure rate.
Mistakes. Expensive.
They're devastating. And that's why we have such a high failure rate. I think that if you looked at, 80% of businesses fail inside of 5 years and a lot of them inside of 2 years. I think if you looked at those businesses, you're going to find a theme of what's missing. And that is using other people to help you with your business, to learn from them, and to avoid the enormously devastating mistakes. I think in my 6 years of doing this, my 30 years of practice and dealing with hundreds of thousands of businesses, that is the theme. The ones that fail try to do it on their own, too long, too much.
Well, and I will also say that when it comes to entrepreneurship for people with disabilities, if your time and energy are limited because of disability, because of chronic illness, and you resist delegation, your business will fail. It just won't. It won't take off. The only way. It is the only way.
Right. It's the only way. And what's the alternative? You're just going to beat yourself into the ground, run yourself down more, exacerbate your physical problems because you're trying to be successful. Mm-hmm. I put that word in quotes because that's not really the road to success.
Right.
So it's ironic, right? You have a disability. It almost forces you to do the things that you should be doing if you don't have a disability in business, right?
Yeah, actually, Nick and I talk about that all the time. When he's looking for how do I save time on this particular type of task, he comes to me. Yeah. Because he's like, how do you, because even now, I work about 25, 30 hours a week.
That's a lot.
Right. That's a max week for me.
Yeah. Because of why? Because of energy levels, or because you've just set things up that way?
That's a great question. It's because of the way I've decided to run my life.
Okay, that's a
Okay.
good answer, though.
So I schedule my life with
Mhm.
priorities in the order that makes sense based on my values.
Right.
Right. And so we start with non-negotiables. And for me, that means medical stuff. At
Hmm.
this point, that takes a lot less time than it did at one point for me.
Right, because you've gotten a handle of it and it's more systematic, but you still have to attend to it.
Well, but also, like, I was getting infusions once a week. I'm now at every 6 weeks.
I see. Okay.
Right. So that's a literal time savings. It's 8 hours every 6 weeks.
The early stages, you had to do a lot more things.
Right. I did.
Right.
So, but I have that. And then I do, before I was doing physical therapy, when I was relearning how to walk and all of that, I'm not there anymore, but I see a personal trainer 3 times a week. And that is a medical appointment and I do not miss it.
Right. Of course not. Yeah.
Right. But how many people schedule their gym time in the periphery?
I do. It's on my calendar Tuesday, Thursday mornings. I don't get to the office for 10:30. I sometimes move. If I end up with a meeting on a Thursday morning, I'll move my gym time, but I schedule it. I don't
You have to.
It's my choice, right? I don't have the kind of medical things that you have to attend to for your own health, right? Those are like a given, but I don't have those things. But I want to, by choice, right? Control my schedule to the best of my ability. Normally Fridays are like just podcasting with you and some marketing things. I have like 4 things today because it just came up, like closings and stuff I can't control. But I normally don't do that. I think that is a choice,
right,
to a certain extent, right?
So I start my schedule with the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And so that's things like, I want to put my kids on the bus in the morning. Okay.
A lot to be said for that.
Like, I want to do that. So that's what I'm doing.
Of course.
And then the medical stuff is in there. And then, like, the other thing when you have a disability, a chronic illness, is your food intake has to be thought about.
More measured, right?
Well, because first
what
of all,
you eat and how much you eat, right? The whole thing.
Right. Well, I can't, if I eat garbage, my body will produce garbage. Like,
right.
I won't be functional.
Well, that's true for everyone, Marie. It's just that people without your condition can deal with it. They just like slough through it and they don't know how bad it's impacting their body until for 20 years from now, 30 years from now.
Right. No, that's true. So that means time for meal prep.
Right.
Has to be in there. And so once I take out all these non-negotiables from my week, and the non-negotiables are health and family related.
Yeah.
Then what I'm left with is not a ton of time.
Right.
And so then I'll schedule a work in, but I'm also making sure that I'm taking care of like the me part of me, like go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I do that by looking out at a monthly basis. So when I was planning October, I looked at my schedule and I said, October 9th, I'm taking that day off because the week before is heavy. The week after is heavy.
That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I block it off and I write me day and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure it out.
Day off.
Right. I went canoeing for the day.
Nice.
Yeah. It was delightful.
It was actually, the weather was really nice yesterday. Was it nice up by you?
Yeah. It was a very good canoe day. Yeah. But the scheduling of my life with medical first, family needs, wellness needs first, because the work will expand to fit the container you put it in.
Well, that's the problem, right? You probably get more done in those 25 to 30 hours than you would get done if you just worked 50 hours and tried to fit all the other stuff in. Like, that's just the way we are as human beings. What's that book? The 4-Hour Work Week or whatever?
Yeah, and that was it's on my bookshelf. Are you looking at my bookshelf?
No, I have the same thing on my bookshelf. That's a very good book. It's true that the way you're doing it, I'm sure you're more productive in business than somebody else who's not just, everything's a fire drill.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's no question about it. But it's kind of helpful, right? Because you were forced to do that in order to balance your life and your children and things like that. People have to do it more affirmatively and they just kind of fit it in, and they're not, they're running on a treadmill and going nowhere. Yeah.
Well, and I actually wrote that. So my book, The Power of the Pivot, is coming out in May 2026.
Nice. So you're going to send us a link for that, right?
I don't, it's not ready yet.
Well, when this comes out, we'll be at least 90 days from now anyway.
Yeah.
And then you'll send it to us. We'll add it.
Okay,
later.
Perfect. So the pre-orders will be up by then. So
cool. Perfect.
But in there, one of the things I say is that I'm not successful despite my scheduling constraints.
Right.
It's because of it.
Yes.
Right. Like at this point, I can write a 1,500 word blog article in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Because you've gotten good at it and you live affirmatively. This is
And
my
right.
time,
Well, and
and
I
we
have
get
to
it done.
process, right? Like I
Yeah.
outline it on this day and then I let time elapse so that my brain can process it while I'm driving.
Right.
So that when I sit down to actually write it, it's 45 minutes without ChatGPT.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
It's funny. We have a similar process. When I'm doing contracts for people, people think I just write the contract and send it to them. I kind of have to write the contract and put it aside and then think about it and then come back and say, wait a second, I really want this to address. I don't like the way this is worded and whatever.
right.
And there's a process to that. So somebody calls you and say, can you give me a contract tomorrow morning?
No,
I go, yeah, but it may not be very good, or I'm very busy and I can't,
I can get you a contract shaped object by tomorrow
Right.
morning.
Well,
Maybe.
somebody's not going to come to you and say, Maria, I'll pay you $100,000. Can you write my book in 2 weeks? And you'd be like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't. I wouldn't do it.
Be intrusive on your life.
Well, also, I would feel like I was taking their money and not
And
providing
giving a really bad
$100,000
result.
worth of
Of
value.
course, because it's not possible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I like a 6 to 9 month timeline.
That's what you know, right? That's what it takes, 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Less responsive from the client, it's going to go longer. More responsive, it'll be on the shorter side. I mean, that's what happens with me too. People don't get back to me for 4 months about their contract or their wills or whatever. And then they expect me to just jump in. I got to figure out what we were talking about 4 months ago.
Right. Yeah. I have to at least review the notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. So the time stuff that's a really big deal. And the delegation piece, I would say working with the clients I work with in the nonprofit, that is 100% the biggest teaching point.
So let's talk more about the nonprofit. So
Sure.
your nonprofit efforts and companies. So you set up a separate nonprofit or you work with nonprofits?
No, I set one up.
Nice.
So it's called Journey to Success.
Okay.
And we're based in Connecticut, but we work nationally. And we help people who are disabled mid-career start businesses.
Very nice.
So it's very specifically like we help people who are in the shoes I was in.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have a client right now who is a nutritionist that developed MS. Okay. We have someone who was working as a teacher and ended up with a traumatic brain injury and long COVID. Oof. That we're working with. Yep. And then I have another woman who is a traumatic brain injury survivor.
Those must be hard, right? I mean,
well, what's interesting is how different the presentation is for everybody, right? And what they struggle with.
Right.
But the delegation piece is the most necessary piece for all of them. It is also the piece that causes the most resistance.
Really? That's interesting. I would think it would be the least resistant. They'd be like, sure, let's get somebody. And
yeah, well, so I have one of our board members works for a university and runs an intern program, which is really wonderful because we can take some of those interns and pair them up with entrepreneurs who need some VA type stuff. Yeah. In different areas. And it's a virtual internship for the college students, which is delightful.
Which is good for them, and it's good learning experience for them.
I mean, my daughter is a marketing and graphic design major, so she's interning for me right now.
Nice.
Like, it's a good deal.
Okay.
So
you pay her with food and allowing her to eat. No,
I'm paying her.
And you're paying her tuition and all that stuff.
Well, yeah, but it's what's interesting is that our mother-daughter conversations are very different than our boss-employee conversations.
Oh, good. So you separate the two.
Yeah, well,
to the best of your ability.
No, I really do. And I got to tell you that seeing her show up in that employment space, it's pretty impressive.
That's nice and makes you proud.
Yeah, it does for sure.
Yeah.
But she's also she's about to graduate in May, and she's like, I don't want to work for other people. Can I just start my own business?
That's the world today.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, well, she's got you. A lot of people they all think they should be in their own business. They're doing it the wrong way. Like we're talking about, they're not going out and finding a mentor. They're not going out and joining a coaching program or whatever it is. And they're investing, there's I look at business plans, right? There's 4 parts, right? There's your product or service, of course. There's the marketing and your marketplace and how you're going to market the product. Mm-hmm. There's all your financials, but nobody wants to pay attention to, which is really bad. And then there's the personnel side of it, right? And people are like, oh, well, it's just me. And eventually I'll bring it. No, if they have that all mapped out, then they'll know when they want to add somebody, who they want to bring in, how are they going to learn this and then pass it off,
I love that you just said that. Yes. So, but also there's this integration of the financials and the personnel.
Yeah, for
That
100%. You shouldn't be
has
doing.
to
You should
happen.
know your financials, but you shouldn't be the one doing them all the time.
You shouldn't be the one doing them all the time. But if you set up your financials so that you have a predetermined percentage that is going to be covering operating expenses,
Mm-hmm.
then you can decide very easily when you're ready to bring someone in.
Right. You know exactly where you are when you can afford to do it and when you should do it. The most successful people I know, that they know exactly what financials tie into staff. They know
Right.
exactly how to do that.
And then the other piece, though, too, is then you can make the decision of, are you going to hire someone that makes you more money, saves you time, or helps you reserve energy?
Right.
Ideally, the
All
best
three
hires
would
do
be
all
ideal,
three,
but that's
right?
not always the case.
But you have to prioritize.
Right. Right. Because it may not make you a lot more money, but it may improve your life because it takes something off the table. When I used to do all this podcast stuff myself. I
I
literally
know,
would
we just talked about this
right,
before we started. Yeah.
record the thing and download it. And it wasn't very video because I don't know video editing. So just slap it up there, audio stuff. When I finally made the decision, it took me a while to find the right person to hire somebody who now handles all of my marketing, blog articles for the law firm, everything. It didn't make me more money then. It makes me more money now, 2 years in. I got tons of business coming in, but it took a while to get there. It was investment, but it changed my level of stress. I used to be like, oh my God, Maria's coming on Friday. I got to make sure I got her stuff. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to download this and make sure the other one's edited and put out and it's got to be posted for this date. I just talk to you now and I upload it to the cloud and Micah takes care of it. It lowered my stress level a lot.
You can see just like the way
It.
your shoulders looked when you were talking about that.
Yeah,
Like
you
for
see,
anyone
I
who's
get all
listening, you were like
worked
all
up.
tense, and then you said her name, and you were just like,
yeah, it was like, and I got to the point where it's summers now. I don't record July and August, and I just have Fridays off, and it's just like, but I wouldn't do that before because I'd be like months behind in editing and stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I decided I take summers off of podcast, even guesting now. Yeah. Nope. My kids are out of school. Things are weird.
It's a choice. You want your life, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize that it's their life. They can choose to do whatever they want.
I want to spend more time on a paddleboard in the summer. I don't want to podcast.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
Do you live on a lake or near a river or something?
Right, canoeing, paddleboarding.
Canoeing, paddleboarding. Yeah.
So we do have a town lake. I don't live on a lake, but we have a town beach. And when I got sick, the things I lost that I missed the most were things like kayaking, skiing, hiking in the woods.
Northeast stuff, right.
Right. Well, I grew up in Michigan, but
oh, there you go.
But it's still same kind of thing, right? So
colder.
I lost all of that.
Uh-huh.
And so as I'm becoming healthier again, when I set goals with my personal trainer, it's not like I want to lose 50 pounds. Right? It's I want to improve my balance enough that I can paddleboard.
There you go.
I
think that's a better goal though. Right?
Like my goal for this year was to be able to load the kayak or paddleboard on the top of my SUV by myself.
Yeah, well that I can understand that.
Done.
Yeah.
Did it. Right?
Yeah.
But those are the goals I'm setting. They're not.
I think the weight loss is the result of the things that you want to do. It's like money, right? I don't think money necessarily should be the goal of someone's business. I think that, building a business, being successful, building the kind of lifestyle you want, preparing it for value, whatever, the money will follow all those things. So I think that's, and then you get so fed up with, oh my God, I'm not making enough money, whatever. If you do all the right things, it will all follow.
It'll happen. Yeah. It'll come.
Yeah.
But my husband and I we've had those same conversations. He's, as an accountant, he's got the money side.
Yeah, well, right.
Pretty well figured out.
He's a numbers guy, right.
And well, I think going back to for my daughter, right? She has me for the business coaching questions.
And she's got him on the financials.
Right.
She got it pretty good.
They sat down and did, she's late on her taxes, but they sat down this past weekend and did her taxes. And, she's putting the numbers in and he's walking her through it. And he says, okay, well, let's set up your business expense sheet. And she goes, business expenses?
Right.
And he's like, you're freelancing as a graphic designer for Maria's company and the nonprofit.
Right.
And she's like, oh, I am doing that.
Right.
And he's like, there's a reason we set it up as a 1099 for you.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Let's
has her
do
own
it.
little LLC.
Yeah,
Little
set it up, and then all the business deductions,
Schedule
and
C.
suddenly
Yeah.
she's looking at her taxes like, oh, I went from
This is
owing
nice.
money to getting money back.
Right. Yeah. No, look,
It's good stuff.
taxes are voluntary as far as I'm concerned. You know? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just disclaimer though, Mitch, they shouldn't
Yes.
take advice from.
No, I'm not giving
No,
advice to
this is
people.
not
I'm just saying
advice.
that's my opinion. And I'm not saying people shouldn't pay taxes and avoid them and, break the law. I'm saying that you can do planning that
There you
reduces your
go.
taxes
Yes,
versus increases your taxes, and that's a
absolutely.
voluntary thing. If you don't do it, you don't get the benefit of it.
Right.
Through the nonprofit, what kind of businesses do you see people going into?
So when someone has limited time and energy, the
Right.
businesses that make sense, and I mentioned before, there's that sweet spot where it's something you're good at that other people don't like doing.
Right.
And if you're a disabled entrepreneur, I always recommend a service-based business,
Right.
just because of the less legwork involved.
Right.
And
Right.
like there have been times where I've taken client meetings from bed when I was really sick.
You could do that.
So if you set your business up in a way that supports that sort of decision making,
So,
and then
the disability that they're suffering, the things they have to deal with, kind of drives what they ultimately
yeah,
want to do.
well, or it should at least be a consideration.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
some of them may have an idea for a product, right, and they want to develop the product, but they're not going to maybe do it themselves. So yeah.
Exactly. Right. And I think that's the point. If you're going to do something that's not service based, there's just going to be a heavier reliance on that delegation piece. And so there's a bigger upfront investment there. Right. Whereas, like the nutritionist that I'm working with, she can offer nutrition coaching. That is an easy thing to set up and start bringing money in.
Right.
And once you have money coming in, you can make decisions about what to do with that money.
Right.
This percentage pays myself. This
people,
right.
Correct.
Exactly.
Work on your marketing. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the one other thing that I've seen a lot of people run into that I've worked with is when the money comes in initially, there's this thought that you should reinvest 100% of it
into your business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have seen this happen a lot
to start. If you
it is a terrible
profit first,
right.
Mike Michalowicz. Yeah.
So exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like
it'll never happen. If you start with the 100%, it'll stay 100%.
It will absolutely stay 100%. And if you're someone who has been dealing with disability or chronic illness, you've lost your career,
right?
Which means you lost a paycheck,
right?
Which means your lifestyle had to change, which means you had to give up a lot of things that you were used to. And all of those things they'll make you feel like crap pretty fast.
I'm sure.
And so if you then let's say you make $100 and you take 100% of that and reinvest it in the business, your business might grow faster doing that.
Right.
But if you take $50 and reinvest it in the business and then take that other $50 and do one of those things you had to give up, that's going to feel a lot better.
Right. Right.
And it's going to motivate you to make that $1,000 or that $10,000.
Right. Plus, it also recognizes in your mind that what you bring to the business is valuable. People do these, calculations, and they don't account for the fact that their time means something, especially if they're going to pass it off to someone else. They now have to pay. Right.
Well, and money is psychological, right? So we have to play those psychological tricks on ourselves to motivate ourselves to show up tomorrow and do the thing again. Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, there's a lot of things we do that may not be the most economically efficient, financially make the most sense. But if it improves the quality of your life and makes you feel better, and you're not walking around your living room at 3:00 in the morning because you're worried about this and that. Look, there's a lot of economic reasons for having a mortgage. You get tax deductions, you get, whatever, as opposed to paying off your mortgage quickly. You can make a lot of economic. In some cases, you're losing more money than you're saving by paying down your mortgage. But if you're not sleeping at night because you can't live with the debt and this and that, you want to have control over it, then you make those decisions. The same thing in business. You make yourself feel better about what you're doing, or feel good about what you're doing, what you're bringing to the table. But I think it also recognizes the fact that it's very hard to pass things off to other people if you haven't gotten in the habit of saying, okay, this is my value. And
this is for me.
Correct.
Well, so back to the value. I had an objection in a sales call with someone once that made me go, you shouldn't work with me.
That made you say that?
Yeah,
You like,
absolutely.
that's nice to be able to say no to people sometimes, you know? It's like, I don't think
Yeah.
I'm right for you, right?
So, well, and the situation was she was looking for coaching for her book project. And she said, well, what do you typically do for coaching? And I said, well, we do it monthly. And so, like, I'll do a one-off session here and there for certain people. But generally speaking, it's monthly basis.
Every 30 days, right?
Right. And in that month, what are we doing? We're going to meet somewhere between 3 and 4 hours for the month in person.
Oh, in person.
In person or via Zoom. Depends on where you live. I'm not traveling to.
No.
I'm not going to come to New Jersey, Mitch. I'm not doing that.
No? That's not far.
No, the turnpike is terrible. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not interested.
It is terrible. Well, you're certainly not going to Colorado or Michigan, right? So
right. Yeah. So we are going to meet for that time, and then in the interim, I'm going to read everything you write. I'm going to do developmental editing. I'm going to be doing market research for your book. Let's figure out who the people are that are going to buy this. Right? We're going to make that composite ideal reader. I'm going to be looking for opportunities in your book to get people back to your website, because that is the ultimate goal, right? We're
content and traffic, right?
Right. So I'm looking for all those pieces so that when you're done with your book, you also have an ecosystem surrounding the book.
Yeah, if not, because you're not going to be a New York Times bestseller necessarily. You're doing it for another reason.
Well, you might be, but even if you are, it's never just the book.
Right.
Right. And that's true even if it's fiction, because there might be the next book. But we have to develop that ecosystem as we're writing the book.
Right.
Otherwise it feels disjointed. And so that's what we're doing. That's the coaching program. And I'm describing this to her, and then I give her my price point. And her objection was, well, I can't imagine paying you X amount per hour if I only pay myself this per hour.
There you go. Well, there's the answer to you. She doesn't value herself enough.
Right. And so my recommendation for her was, and this is someone who worked in the mental health field. I have a few clients who are coaches for folks starting private practices.
Okay.
And so I said, you don't need me. You need a business coach to help you pay yourself more.
Right. You need to increase your largest check. Yeah. Because, that was good advice.
I wouldn't sleep well at night.
Right. Well, maybe she needs you, but not now. Like, it's not right. Maybe
call me in 10 years.
Now,
5 years.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But right now you need someone who can coach you through how to pay yourself more as a therapist, because this isn't working.
Right. I talk more attorneys into raising their fees. I should get a percentage of what they're doing. It's ridiculous. They call me, oh, I feel so much better. My clients were understanding and this and that. I said, of course they are. They're probably wondering why you're charging so little.
So I have a myofascial release specialist I've been seeing for 4 years since getting sick. And she's private pay. She doesn't take insurance. And every time she's raised her rates, she's done it because while I'm on her table, we're talking about business.
Right, because you told her.
And I've said to her, you need to raise your rates. And she's like, you realize I'm going to be raising yours too.
Right, of course.
I'm like, I'm literally telling her to charge me more.
Right.
Right. Yes. But if you have a waiting list 4 months long.
So now to be 2 months long and you'll make twice as much.
Right.
Right.
Maybe you need to hire. So now she has an expanded space and 2 additional therapists on her staff, and
there you go.
A shorter wait list.
Yeah. Right. Grow.
Right.
So, yeah.
All because she raised the
So, this was a good show, because somebody said to me a while ago, hey, all this podcasting stuff is great. There's so much stuff, but it's really about like having good conversations that are hopefully valuable to people that are listening. And I think it wasn't just really about being a disabled entrepreneur, this show. It was about doing a lot of the things that can improve your life as an entrepreneur. Like, that's why we do this.
Well, but also,
in a lot of cases.
Yeah. And there's also, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to deal with all the other stuff. If you have issues about money, if you have issues about delegation, like if you can't ask your kid to take the trash out.
Right. You got a problem. Yeah.
That's going to show up when you're trying to hire an accountant.
Right. Yeah, maybe the kid should have been trained already to take the trash out on his own when he sees that the thing's full. That's the, if you do that, then you're really,
Well,
really
that's
good.
what delegation is, isn't it? If we show them how to do it, then we don't have
Yes,
to.
I would. Yeah, it's
That's the
crazy.
whole point.
You can show your kids a lot, and then when they're home, they don't do it. It's crazy.
But they do it in their own spaces.
They do. Their apartments, they'll be like, oh, I got to take this out and grab that trash. We're leaving. I'm like, you don't do that at home.
My
But
daughter,
you're at home. I'm like, what?
my daughter did a travel job out in Yellowstone during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Because college was weird
Yeah.
during COVID. So she did a travel job. She lived in Yellowstone National Park and she was in a cabin and my husband went out to visit her and they ate some food and he went to throw the trash out. And she's like, no, you can't throw food trash out in the cabin because we'll get mice.
Right.
You have to walk that to the dumpster.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
like,
in her bedroom, I'll find like a bowl of Greek yogurt with caked on granola stuck to it in a drawer.
There you go. No,
because she didn't want to walk it down to the sink. Right.
No, because they know in their own space that nobody's going to do it. But in our space, they think we're going to do it.
I'm going to magically find the
laundry
granola bowl in the drawer.
Yeah, I find those things too, like magical.
So weird.
Around
the
house.
Forks under the bed.
So if people want to interact with you, learn from you, work with you, learn about the nonprofit, what's the best way for people to? And we'll put these links in the show notes. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
Yeah, the nonprofit is journeytosuccess.org, and we're Journey to Success Project on social media.
Okay.
And as a ghostwriter, I'm on connectedghostwriting.com. We have a really robust blog there with lots of writing tips. So if you're writing a book or thinking about writing a book, everything from how to outline your book to how to pick a publisher is on there. So that's a really great resource. And then it's Connected Ghostwriting LLC on social media.
Okay, got it. Yep. And it looks like all those are in your bio. So that's good.
Yes.
We'll put those in the show notes. And Maria, on a Friday morning, I don't know if you're going out canoeing now or whatever.
I'm going to my personal training appointment.
Oh, nice.
That's my next thing.
Good. Well, we're just coming up on an hour, so it's perfect. I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me, and let's stay in touch. I always love when people are helping other entrepreneurs, move forward and make better decisions. So,
thanks, Mitch.
All right. Thanks, Maria. In addition to being a podcast host, I'm also a small business attorney, mostly providing legal services in New York and New Jersey. With over 3 decades of experience, we can handle most transactional issues. So if you're watching the show and you encounter some sort of legal issue, reach out to us and visit our website, beinhakerlaw.com. Thanks for tuning into the show and for continuing to support us.